Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Chapter 4, Shattered Ambition. New Hope. Thus, the battle resumed in the audience room. On one side were Laplus, Sylvia, and the two injured knights. Against them were Feldway, Kaguli, Leon, Yuki, Footman, and Tyr. They were outnumbered 4-6, and were overwhelmingly disadvantaged in terms of strength. Sylvia said, "Can I ask you something?" "Oh, what is it?" "Honestly, how far do you think we can go against them?" Yes, well, even if I tell you, it won't make you happy, will it?" "I guess so." "Wait, don't answer that." "That's certainly true," Laplus laughed. Sylvia felt nostalgic about the exchange. No, it wasn't the conversation, but the very existence of this man, Laplus, that made her feel nostalgic. "Could it be that we know each other?" "No, I don't think so." "Well, whatever. This is not the time to be worrying about that." Sylvia, with her modest yet graceful chest, was undoubtedly a warrior. She quickly switched her mind and identified the enemy. Feldway did not move, as if wanting to leave the work to his subordinates. It was obvious from his attitude that he was looking down on Sylvia and the others. However, in the current situation, where she was at an overwhelming disadvantage, perhaps she should be grateful. "I'd like to say that his arrogance will be his downfall, but he's the head of the primordials. I've heard from the ancestor, but this is crazy. He's stronger than me, to be honest." The ancestor always had a sloppy personality, so it had always been best to take everything he said with a grain of salt. Sylvia had also been deceived many times, and suffered a lot. However, judging from the activities of the primordials, she never thought they were weak. Even if she only knew half the story, they should be considered as superior to Sylvia. In fact, when confronting them in this way, she could sense that their presence was frighteningly dense. In the first place, all the people here are monsters. Even Alris and Claude are good enough to be called demon lords in their time. Among them, Feldway was exceptional. If she fought him head-on, she would be defeated. Therefore, the only strategy to be taken here was to buy time. Remurikon, who El-chan mentioned, will be here soon, right? I don't know how well he'll do against such monsters, but he's already defeated Valgrand, right? Well, we can only hope for the best. Sylvia was also one of the high elves created by the ancestor, and she was proud of her abilities. In fact, she had an existential value of just under 2 million, which was about the same as that of an awakened demon lord. In addition to that, her weapon was a mythical grade Vajra, which surpassed Leon's in terms of skill. The number of blades was variable, and she specialized in handling it by stretching it like a spear. Moreover, she possessed the ultimate skill Thunder King, Indra, the highest of the weather system's skills, which made her stronger than Tyr and Footman, but even still, she was not as strong as Feldway. She was not even close. Despite her confident assurances to Laplus, it would be difficult to turn the tables. However, as long as Feldway didn't make a move, there was still a chance to win. The possibility of Leon being manipulated had also been taken into consideration. She had told him how to separate his mind from his skill, and believed that Leon was still desperately trying to regain his ego. Incidentally, if he did this, there was a very high possibility that he would lose his skill. This is exactly what a bear did, and it would be a huge loss in terms of strength. In the first place, it was not that easy, so she taught it to him as a last resort. "Well, it's all up to Leon-kun. He was a very good pupil, but I think it's still a 50-50 chance whether or not he will succeed." She was not very optimistic, but there was still hope that Leon would return to the front. It was a pretty bad wager to find a way out of it, but there was no other way. If there was nothing she could do but complain, then she would just have to be prepared and do her best. "You two, stick to supporting me. And the clown, Piero, over there. Your opponent is. It's me. If I don't work once in a while, I'll lose my reputation." Sylvia's comment was interrupted by Yuki, one of the enemies. Without saying a word, he launched a kick at Laplus. "Hey, wait. Are you serious, boss?" Laplus, even when starting the battle with no questions asked, did not forget to introduce himself. "I am a clown, but my name is Laplus." While dealing with Yuki, he shouted it back at Sylvia. "You're still dangerous, Laplus. There's still plenty left in you, so I'll be your opponent as well as Yuki-sama." While saying that, Kaguli joined the fray. "That's not fair. I mean, are you trying to make me cry? Even Laplus had become desperate. Even if it was just one of them, it would be difficult. But now that both of them were coming at him at the same time, he couldn't even afford to make fun of them. At this point, Leon made his move. Well, it looks like you're my opponent, Master Sylvia. But I don't want to point my sword at you. Won't you come to our side? Leon made such a suggestion in a gentlemanly manner. Even though he was being manipulated, his memories were still intact. If Michael Feldway ordered him to kill, there was nothing he could do, but otherwise, he could get some control. However, betrayal is absolutely impossible. Simply asking this proposal was the best concession Leon could currently make. You know, Leon-kun, you were the one called me here, remember? Yes. So, by all means, become an ally. I don't think we should talk, because I don't want Leon-kun to resent me. If I cooperate with Leon-kun now, he'll complain about it later, when he comes to his senses. Sylvia laughed in reply. She knew what Leon's purpose was in life, and what he had lived for. That is why she could not betray Leon's true feelings. However, Leon could not understand his feelings. Leon also had memories of Chloe. He still felt that Chloe was important to him, but that did not take precedence over his orders. You have a girl you like, don't you? How do you think she'd feel if she saw Leon-kun right now? Leon's heart wavered when he was asked that question. However, he quickly calmed down and regained his usual coolness. That's a silly question. After Feldway saw his wish is granted, I will have what I want. And I'm sure she'll be waiting for me until then. Are you sure about that? Sylvia asked quite seriously. Based on what she had heard from Lamisia and the others, it was clear that Chloe's attention was not on Leon. If Leon didn't launch an onslaught from here on, she didn't think Chloe would be waiting for him. But that was Leon's own problem. It was not for her to interfere with, so all Sylvia said was, oh well. Just don't cry if she rejects you. When Leon heard this, he twitched, but no one noticed it. And so, the battle between Sylvia and Leon began. Laplus was the strongest magician in the moderate clown troupe. He possessed a vicious power, and could even be called an uncrowned demon lord. He was reborn as an undead elf by Kagali's hands, but his experience and abilities as an ex-chosen hero had remained intact. In addition to that, Laplus possessed two unique skills. The first was the unique skill Falsifier. This ability, which was able to interfere with an opponent's perceptions, helped him to launch illusionary attacks. Disguising one's weapon is a useful skill. A spear in his hand could appear as a knife to his enemy. He could make a knife appear out of thin air when one thought he had nothing in his hands. Or, it could also be a bomb disguised as a knife, making it the perfect tool to play with the enemy. And with this skill, it was also easy to pretend to be dead and make an escape. That alone was heinous, but there was another skill that was even more so. The power of foresight, the unique skill Future Vision. This was Laplus's trump card. This ability allowed Laplus to see a few seconds into the future. Because of this, he could clearly see whether or not his falsifier skill would work against the enemy. This is why Laplus was always able to fight without being caught off guard. He had high physical ability and a good sense of combat. Along with his perfect prediction of the future and 1,000 different ways to attack, Laplus was invincible. He claimed to be the vice-chairman of the moderate clown troupe, but in terms of simple combat ability, he easily surpassed the chairman, Kagali. It was precisely because of this that Laplus had remained undefeated for so long, after becoming Imagine. Besides, even running away was one of Laplus's tactics, so it was a rare event for him to admit defeat. But even that Laplus admitted defeat to the boy standing in front of him, Yuki Kaguruzaka. But that was a while ago. Footman, Tier. Support Leon. And while you're at it, take care of those deadbeats. That was Kagali's order. Laplus launched a counterattack as there was no way to run away. There were two opponents. Moreover, they were both as strong, or even stronger than him. Actually, the boss is probably most dangerous one, since Kagali-sama, for all her strengths, is not good at close combat. Laplus had known Kagali for a long time. He was familiar with Kagali's strengths and weaknesses, and judged that he could handle her, even if her presence was different from that of Kazarium. In fact, Kagali's physical strength had increased, making it more difficult for her to fall. Her strength had increased, her destructive power has increased, and her speed had increased all by an order of magnitude, but her overall ability had not changed. That is why it was possible to respond sufficiently by increasing the speed of reflection and anticipating her moves. Even for such a Laplus, he still thought that Yuki would be a bad matchup for him. Yuki's strength appeared to be the same as before, but that assumption was dangerous. Therefore, Laplus decided that he should be more cautious of Yuki than Kagali. No hard feelings, Yuki-san. He shouted and threw a knife at Yuki. But it was shown in future vision that they would all miss. Unperturbed by this, Laplus made his next move. Aiming at Yuki's evasive maneuvers, he threw knives one after another. He did not forget to check Kagoli. On the surface, Laplus was aloof, but he was quite desperately trying to use his two powers. Even so, he was unable to reach Yuki. No way. Even with my future vision, I can only see the future, where everything will be wrong. A few seconds in the future was meaningless. In the first place, Falsifier did not work on Yuki. This was the same opponent that Laplus was unable to defeat in the past, and it seemed that it would be difficult for him to win this time as well. But that's still not a reason to give up, is it? If he had wanted to admit defeat so easily, he wouldn't have gone to such a dangerous place in the first place. Laplus was also someone who had believed in Yuki's words. Boss, you're the one who said it. You said you were going to take over the world. Hahaha, you're an idiot, Laplus. Do you still believe in that nonsense? Of course I do. I'm persistent. I've decided to give up when I die, so I'll keep believing in you while I'm alive. Yuki laughed mockingly at Laplus's desperate shout. This is ridiculous, Laplus. Just because you're a clown doesn't mean you can't have a funny laugh. With that condescending remark, Yuki closed in on Laplus. As the two of them approached, Kagoli, who was about to unleash the golden destruction ray from the ruin scepter again, came to a halt. Laplus, however, was having none of it, and was desperately trying to block Yuki's attack. What a heavy fist. Is this guy really human? There are so many different types of otherworlders, it's scary. However, even so, there was something that bothered him. At first glance, Yuki's attack seemed harsh, but in fact, the hit was slightly off the mark. It was not due to Laplus. It was Yuki's intention to do so. At that moment, Laplus realized. Wait a minute, this signal, could it be? He remembered the pattern of the faint vibrations he felt whenever he parried a fist, or blocked a kick. It had also been used to communicate with Clayman, and was encrypted, so that no one else could decipher it. And the only people who knew the code were the people he trusted. In other words, let's see. Hurry and figure it out, idiot. When you notice it, work with me was it? Really? Although Laplus had his doubts, the possibility that this was a trap felt slim to none. Even without Yuki having to go through such trouble, Laplus would have eventually been defeated. So Laplus did as he was told, and tried to team up with Yuki. I'm more powerful than you. Let's test it. And, well, he was immediately grappled and thrown off in an instant. It was real. It was not a trap, but a way to entrust a message for what was to come. While pretending to roll on the floor, or rather, it actually really hurt, Laplus read the message. The fact that they had fought each other for a short period of time, instead of just a moment, gave him a good amount of information this time. And it revealed Yuki's current situation. Boss, you come to your senses. In this desperate situation, it was good news. Laplus, hiding his joy under his mask, read the information further. Well, what is it? We're going to keep pretending to fight and restrain the chairman, right? If you're leaving the rest to me, does that mean the boss has a plan? Alright, let's do it. Without hesitation, Laplus takes action. He made it look like he was going to attack Yuki, but instead he grabbed Kagoli. Alright, now skill steal. What the? Kagoli fell to her knees. Laplus held her up. Are you okay, Chairman? Laplus. What about me? Wait, no way, my skill, Domination King, Melchizedek, is gone. Kagoli looked confused, but in an instant, she grasped the situation. Fall back, Tier, footman. She shouted to protect herself, which was quite a feat. Even Kagoli could not hide her surprise. Even so, she understood from the bottom of her heart that the situation had changed drastically at this moment. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.